What thought have you given toward giving the players opportunities to personalize?
We've talked about it a lot. We have this strong profile system in place that has all this data coming through. We really want to reflect this data back toward the game and kind of use those profiles as an opportunity for people to not only customize their kind of web page, but also customize different elements of their character, perhaps in small ways. We haven't talked about any extensive like masteries like League of Legends, nothing like very big, but in terms of aesthetic stuff, it's a pretty lightweight thing to add on.
Okay.
Have you guys thought about randomizing the tracks for each map? Just for the sake of switching it up, just so you never get sort of the same experience twice?
Yeah, we've talked about it. Something that we can do. We decided against to kind of fit the theme, like the style of the track per map. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. We'll consider doing that and see how people respond to either randomized tracks or set track per map. Thank you. Colin.
What were the largest challenges facing playtesting in terms of giving people feedback for like, the weapons they were using and then telling them what the weapons did, how long they lasted, exactly, without actually having to spell it out for them in game?
Well, we've done a couple play testing. We had a lot of feedback. Weapons are roughly simple enough for people to pretty quickly pick up. But we did make a new weapon select system, and we are working on trying to just simplify the language as much as humanly possible, so that they only have to look like 3 words, like short range, like first in, right out.
Because you guys have an interesting challenge in itself artistically. You don't have, I mean, you've got very sharp geometric shapes, which looks really cool and polished. I just feel like within that environment, that's a challenge in itself to really tell the player exactly like what, like you have that cool effect of the weapon where it basically throws out octagons and how that affects the environment. And I think you guys have done a really interesting and articulate job in like identifying what areas of the map are dangerous to the player and things like that. It never occurs to me like this shouldn't be. I understand what I'm not supposed to track into. So I was just curious how you guys landed into those boxes of basically how to build a level. Because you had an interesting challenge. I think you've done a great job of setting up those levels to make sense to the player. And I feel like with each weapon iteration, you come back to that same problem of, you know, how do we tell the player exactly what this is going to do for them and then the enemies around them?
Yeah, that's, thank you. And I think one of the biggest challenges with those weapons and selling it is that there's really not such a thing as a dedicated student VFX artist. And that makes it pretty challenging in a game where VFX really sell how the weapons communicate feedback. So we've done a lot of work to turn everybody into a VFX artist. And it's been a challenge, but it's been fun kind of learning the system. And inevitably, Unreal will change the entire system once it's done. So,
have you run into the problem yet of giving too much feedback to the player? Because I did notice there was a lot going on, and it's a different feel when you're actually playing through the game because you understand when you're attacking and when you're not, and it's not as obvious for somebody watching the game exactly when the player's clicking and attacking. So how would you say in terms of player feedback what the environmental responses have been, and like how they liked and enjoyed all of the feedback they've gotten? Has it been too much, too little, or do you think that most players have said it's about right?
I'd say for the most part, at first it was too little. People were like, oh, I don't know whose mine that is. Like, is that mine? Do I have to watch out for it? And so actually, all the past 2 weeks, I've been coloring pretty much every single projectile. So if you're on red team, it comes out red. If you're on blue team, it comes out blue. But you're right, that was definitely a huge issue for us. But because we have such stark environments, it's actually pretty clear to tell what's going on. So that was actually a huge boon for us, but cluttering is definitely something that we can watch out for, but I would always err on giving people too much information than not.
I would agree with it.
Cool. Any other questions?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. And as a quick recap, Polyseum is a team-centric first-person shooter all about pushing, pulling, spiking, crushing, stunning, and dunking opponents. Get everybody off the stage and win a match. So last time you saw the game, it was in pretty good state for the final demo day, but we've added a lot since then, both in the game and on our back end.
In the game, we have 7 maps, we have 4 game modes, we have 5 weapons, we have a fully revamped UI, and we have a lot of other stuff going on. On the back end, we have things like a patcher, we have scalability settings for all the computers that you can run on really low-end devices. The game runs on PC and Linux, and Mac is coming soon. And we have a lot more in store in terms of how our servers are working and how our metrics are looking. Other than that, let's get started and see how all this stuff works in the game as opposed to boring you in the menu. So right now we have Nielsen playing and Zach playing. What Nielsen can do is he's going to create a match. He's going to go to our new UI for our server browser. He's going to go in, name it something appropriate, hopefully. And he's going to go to select, and he's going to choose Ice Cap as the map that we're going to do. This is a new one that we have that we're currently implementing art for, but it's going to be a cool experience to show you a brand new game mode. I'll let Baldur take it from here.
Yeah, so game modes last semester, that was one of the biggest critiques that we had. King of the Hill was so manic. It was like you were in a very tight space, and there were tons of explosions, and it was just a little too crazy. And it wasn't very team-oriented, so we decided to make a new type of game mode. It's called VIP Capture. And so the idea is that one person on either blue or red selected the VIP. So VIP has damage reduction, and when the VIP is killed, the round ends. The VIP's goal is to run around and capture specific points on the map.
Cool, so as you can see on the right here, we have a brand new weapon select with 5 of our weapons. So we, Baldur, you want to move the weapons?
Yeah, this is Nielsen here on the right. Okay, so Nielsen's using the damage plus right now. A lot of our weapons have been changed. At least one part of the weapon has been changed for each weapon this semester. So right now the damage plus has a standard projectile that comes out and damages people. This is a damage-centric gun as opposed to knockback-centric. And the idea is that you have a limited amount of ammo in your primary fire, except if you hit someone, it refills your ammo. So you have to be pretty good at hitting people, but if you are, you will benefit. The secondary fire is a beam that shoots out, and if you hit all 3 beams that shoot really quickly, you stun the enemy. Otherwise, it just slows them.
So right now we're getting a little bit of screen lag on this screen because we're monitoring this Linux machine up to here. It's big resolutions, but hopefully you guys see what's going on here. So if this wants to tab, you can see who's readied up and all that kind of stuff. So if we can get everybody to ready up real quick. And now the match is going to start. Red team's going to start with VIP, and it's Kenneth. So Kenneth is going to go and try to capture these points while the blue team is going to try to kill them off.
So right now, Kenneth is going to cap 1 minute. That is the highest point we're going to take a jump pad to get good. So it kind of lends itself to a really frenetic skirmish at the top right now here. Some of our players using the newly revamped Minesweeper gun, which now has a poisonous gas cloud multiplier. So you can now right-click and launch. You can launch a poisonous gas mine, you right-click and detonate it, and anybody who walks into that poisonous gas fire's up will take constant damage. So it's a great way to kind of zone your opponents out of these captures.
Last semester we made the Minesweeper to specifically zone people, but its multiplier before was a large bubble that expanded and closed in, and then the primary fire was this mine, and it felt like thematically it was confused, and that's why we changed it to a different type of zoning for the poison bubble. We also wanted something that obstructed vision as well, so that kind of doubles as defense. For Nielsen's, before we had his alt fire was a constant beam that raised people upwards, but it turned out for us that was way too hard to land. It didn't really synergize with his primary either. So that's why we went with something that slows or stuns people. When you stun people with this weapon, then it guarantees you to get a couple shots off in a row. So that actually really helps you out.
So we ran out of time there for Kenneth. So they got 2 out of the 4 possible capture points. Right now the blue team's going to have a go at it, and they're going to have a couple rounds to give it a shot.
So the VIP has switched teams, so now it's Tanner on the blue side. So red now has to defend the place.
Zach's trying a unique strategy where he jumps straight to the lava and gets bounced around. It's not working out super well.
We also changed how lava works in our game. Before, it would instantly kill you. We found that was actually, it would end rounds too quickly. We found that people, especially the VIP, would accidentally hit lava and just immediately die. And that wasn't very fun. So we give people more of a chance to stay on the map by just bouncing them back and damaging them when they fly.
Riley also noticed that it takes way too long to travel across this map, because it's pretty big. So we added some jump pads to help give players a boost when they're heading in certain directions.
What we're going to go over in a minute after we play, we'll probably play this match and one more, which will be a little bit shorter. We're going to go over the metrics that we've been putting into the online system. Adrian can talk a little bit about how we revamped that.
Yeah, so as far as our online platform goes, we are doing a lot of things with our operations. We are getting ready to expose our services to a small number of people. We're going to go with closed algorithm, hopefully get our game in people's hands. And to do that, we really have to make sure our web services are mature, reliable, and secure enough to more of that kind of social access. So we've done a lot of different sort of redundancy. We have staging and production sites right now we are recording staging data. When alpha goes live, we will be recording production data. We're working on API security and a few other things with that. As far as distribution goes, I think Riley already mentioned we have patching going. So we can pretty much just give anybody a download some sort of patcher. And using that, they will have the latest build of our game at any given time. We also have streamlined the process for deploying game servers to Azure. So in the span of about a few minutes, we can deploy, say, like 10 game servers to Azure and just have it running for a day at a time.
Let's have Red Team win this round so that we can move on to a new map in a second. We'll kind of see the end game state for what's going on. Who's going to get a quick rebuttal round, but we'll have them at that so that we can hop into a new map. And we'll probably have Zach lower his scalability settings, so good thing we have that in our system settings so that this can run a little bit smoother on such a big display. Man, Zach is really good at bouncing around the lava. It's a talent he's built up over the past couple of months. We have 10 seconds left for Red, so let's let Red take that zone. No. Maybe not. Okay, cool. So what we'll do, blue team, we're going to move on to the next round, and we're just going to clean up this match and have it end and boot us back to the main menu as a game would normally match. Blue team VIP, if you just want to hop off the map, that would be fantastic. We just want to show you a couple more game modes and maps. Great, so red team won. All these caps are going to get pushed over the course of the next minute to our web service, but we're not going to hop into that quite yet. We're going to wait till we get back to the main menu. Give it a second to refresh the server. Zach's going to hop in and change those scalability settings so that hopefully this screen runs a little bit smoother. We have everything that allows really low-end to high-end devices to run on whatever account they want.
Zach is actually running on Ubuntu, right? Yes. So this game is using OpenGL instead of DirectX. You'll know OpenGL has problems. So we're going to have Zach close down the settings and see if we can solve
All right, so for this map,
Let's check out Megan first. Yeah, cool. So you guys have seen this map before. We cleaned it up quite a bit. It's looking a little sleeker, and you'll see when you jump in, you'll be able to get a feel for the combat right away. As you can see, we have all music in for every stage. We have different pieces of music for every stage right now. Hey, look at that! That's a lot
That's the head mode flavor.
It actually so poorly that the server's booting them out. So in this game mode, this is back to our VIP arena. You guys haven't seen this game mode either. This is the same thing as you just saw on Capture Point, but instead of trying to capture a point, the only goal is to kill that VIP.
as you can see, Nielsen is using the IDE. We had an iteration of this last semester. This is the weapons that I've been focusing on developing. We realized it was very similar to one of our other weapons, actually the one that Nielsen was just using, the Davis++. Before, it just shot out a single projectile to knock people back, and that charged up your bolt which is like a very powerful shotgun at close range. Instead, we wanted to make it more of a full shotgun season. So your primary fire fires out a spread of bullets, and that charges your close range blast.
So right now we're in pre-match mode, which we talked about before. This gives people an opportunity to mess around and kind of try out different weapons. What we can do is we're going to ready up. We're just going to do a 2-on-3 because Zach is getting booted right now. Oh yeah, actually if one red player wants to leave, not Nielsen. Kenneth has been demoted. There we go. Cool. You guys ready up? And let's just start the match and then we'll end a little bit early to show off the metrics and be done. Cool. There we go. So David is the VIP. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to keep him contained and get him off the stage. VIPs get damage reduction, as we've said. So David's a little bit like a tank as he runs around and tries to avoid people. It's a good strategy to try to run around, but it's also pretty effective to just jump right into the action as a VIP and try to kill people off so they can't do nothing.
The only issue with that is if you spend too much time just trying to kill off the other person, they will come back. Everybody else spawns besides the VIP, so it can be a little dangerous.
Looks like David's doing a pretty good job of avoiding it right now. He's at 85% though. Cool, so Tanner's the VIP. We'll do one more round like this and then you guys can see the metrics that we have that we've been pushing up and totally revamping. Oh man, Tanner's getting hit pretty hard early. He can't stay in range of Nielsen like that too long because this gun excels in being a few inches from your face. As you guys see, we have the chat down there that's all based on team stuff. We have whispering, we have team chat, we have everything like that. Allows people to communicate and trash talk, which is always good. Got 40 seconds left. Come to me.
Again, we've worked a lot on just reinforcing player knowledge and usability this semester. So, as you see, Nielsen's reticle right now, it has double diamonds in it. That's unique.
Alright, so just if you want to hop out, we can show off the metrics real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to show off kind of all the metrics that have been pushed to the main server. There you go. And then this is our revamped profile page. So as you guys can see, Adrian can also come talk about this too. We have all these metrics being pushed to here. A lot of these are going to expand into different graphs and visualizations. We're ranking players based off of a lot of data research that we're doing to see how matchmaking systems work based off of player skill and variation of that skill.
So we're actually in the middle of a pretty big redesign of our website. This is where we decided to do the stop the midterm. We are kind of moving layout-wise to a tile-based presentation of data. Because of the redesign, we're running at about like an hour time delay on aggregate stats updating like this. But the result is that now we batch new stats, and so our load times went from a couple of minutes to under a second. So a lot of performance improvements as well as general layout changes. The next time you see this website, well, hopefully next week, you're going to see some cool like parallax scrolling effects. And what else? Our leaderboards are also a little revamped.
Yeah, you can hop over to leaderboards and kind of see how people are ranked. We're going to start ranking people by different metrics, whether it's their damage, their kill death assist ratio, things like that. But that's it for the game and the metrics. In terms of the rest of the semester, we're going to be polishing things out. We're going to be adding weapons, a couple more maps. And what we're doing with this game after school, we're really not sure yet. You know, we're talking to a lot of people about what we might want to do. We might want to do things ourselves. It's up in the air, but we hope you guys give it a shot. We're going to be doing a closed alpha in about 3 weeks, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, probably just after spring break for USC. So we're going to give a closed alpha, and obviously all of you guys will be welcome to join, create accounts, and play from wherever you are, and at that point on any platform, PC, Linux, Mac.
So that's it. That's Polyseum. Any questions?
Yes, so what are some of your overarching goals for your final beta?
For final is really just cleaning up a lot of what you've seen here. We want to add more content in terms of maps and weapons, potentially one more game mode. But really it's about getting more and more feedback and making this a completely shippable product, making places with some museums, integration with Steam, everything like that, so you could give it to somebody that can play on any platform and know what to do through all the realization and feedback that we give them. We want this to be shippable, at least in feature set, content-wise. We will play by ear whether or not we have enough content to support a full game.
Okay, so once you, so more maps, another game mode, shippable. Do me a favor, make sure that you communicate those final goals well in advance of beta so we know what to expect. And I absolutely encourage the team to pursue those goals and more.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
So, in terms of the music, it sounds like right now there's one track per map. Is it likely to stay that way? How long are the tracks?
We've just been implementing a lot of music. Most of our tracks are about 4 minutes in length. The one you heard on the first map is 4 minutes and change. And that loops twice with a little bit of a break in between. We've not done any layering, but that's something that we're willing to explore should we go down that route and find that we have the bandwidth for it. Right now, we're assigning kind of a track per map. If we were to integrate with a different platform like Steam or something, we might go above and beyond and try to do something where people can kind of select their own music. We're kind of playing it by ear, but for right now, one track per map is